Hello friends, today we are doing something super duper fun where we are gonna have Goodreads pick my TBR. How do you think this is going to work? Well, I will tell you. So basically, Goodreads, we have her open. I am going to scroll on Goodreads until I find a book that I'm gonna try to do, either like a book that like I know I want to read even if I don't have it, or it has to be a book that's on my TBR. Okay, does that make sense? And so the first three that we find, I think I'm gonna just pick one now and then we'll pick another whenever we finish that one. But basically we're gonna scroll on Goodreads until we get to a book that either I want, it's on my TBR that I don't own physically, or it's on my physical TBR, mainly because I'm just trying to get her down. And then if it's obviously like book 7 in a series, we're not gonna do that because I'm not starting a series in the middle. And that's just gonna be that. We're gonna read 3 books, and I'm nervous. I did open up Goodreads, but it wasn't even a spoiler because it's literally just like, well, it just updated that Shay gave 4 stars to Onyx Storm, which I will not be reading because I'm not on Onyx. I've read Fourth Wing. I don't really have any intention on finishing that series. I DNF'd the series. But with that being said, we are going to do our first little scroll. Let me screen record so I can give you guys the tea. Scrolling. This is like a kid's book. I've never heard of His Face is the Sun. I've never heard of Tor Wars, but actually looks cute. I've already read Beg, Borrow, Steal. I don't know what this Disney adult book is. I've already read... Madison, why are we reading Beg, Borrow, Steal, but we want to read When in Rome? I'm confused. I've read mainly every Sarah Adams book. I've read Heartstopper. I don't have that. I don't have that. We don't have that. I've read Word D. I don't have No Place Left to Hide. I've read The Coworker. Okay, we have our pick. It is going to be Savor It by Tarah DeWitt. Shannon, you read that. You gave it 5 stars. Let me go grab it. Here she is. I did get this book in my, what's it called? In my like Prime, it was like a Prime Day deal. It was like $8 or $6. So Savor It by Tarah DeWitt. I have no idea what this is. I've never read anything by her. This is book 1 in a series. I've seen very mixed reviews about it, but I'm excited to give her a go. This one says, Sage Bird has learned to love her small world in the coastal town of Spoons, Oregon. With the misfit animals on her hobby farm, her friends, and her students to make her smile. But when her ex town golden boy Ian suddenly gets engaged, Sage wants a win, beating him in the Festival of Spoons, like the city in Oregon. The town's annual summer competition would be the perfect way to show everyone she's doing just fine. No pity necessary, she just needs a partner. Also, is it Oregon or Oregon? Because I feel like I say Oregon, but then if I'm talking about like the Oregon Trail, like the computer game and such, like the Oregon, that's Oregon. Is this like a Caribbean and Caribbean thing? Let me know. Anywho, Fisher Lang was a hotshot chef, ooh, I love a chef, in New York City until the loss of his sister left him grieving and responsible for his teenage niece. Love a sad book. After Fisher, the name is horrible though, loses his Michelin star along with the love of his cooking, his boss sends him to Spoons for a last chance project to redeem himself. But as his reluctance to get comfortable in a small town causes clashes with the locals and a kiss with his sunny neighbor Sage leads to dating rumors, the pair strikes a deal to turn things around. Soon their alliance blooms into something unexpected, and while they're trying to savor every moment, summer is racing by far too quickly. So is it fake dating? That's one of my faves. So this is book 1. Let's get into it. Okay guys, we have finished Savor It by Tarah DeWitt, and I was, for a lot of this book, feeling like it was going to be a 3-star, but then I cried. So it's a 4-star. So I don't know that we've really talked much about this book. So in this book, we do have our main female. Her name is Sage, and we have our, which I really love the name Sage, just saying. We have our main male character, Fisher. Hate that name. But basically, Sage has lived in this small town of Spoons, Oregon. And I'm pretty sure IRL, that's where Twilight takes place. I don't know. Never read or seen Twilight. Learned that from Gabby. But basically, she has like a hobby farm. She's a teacher. Just like a cutesy girl. She's the nice girl. The one who's like been nice to a fault a lot of her life. Very much so taken advantage of. And people don't appreciate her for being the sweetie pie that she is. So then we have our main male character, Fisher, and he's been kind of going through it. His sister passed away, and he now has his niece and is raising her. A bunch of stuff happens to get them where they are, but he is a chef, and he has recently been fired from his job and caused the restaurant to lose their Michelin star. So he's kind of going through it, and he's very close with the people he worked with at the restaurant, and they want to give him another chance. So they're planning on opening up a restaurant in Spoons, Oregon, and he is given this opportunity to go there and cultivate the menu and basically get the project off the ground, because the townsfolk aren't thrilled about this project and are putting a lot of obstacles in their way, like halting their permits, XYZ, making it so that they can't get this project up and running. So he and his niece, her mom's name was Freya, and Indy's her name. So he and Indy move there. There's a bunch of shenanigans that go on, but there's also this event every year, this like competition that happens in Spoons, and it's like you and a partner do this like canoe race and blah blah blah. So he and Sage and Fisher decide they're going to couple up to do this, and they start to have feelings for each other. And there's a lot about grief and dealing with like being young and losing a parent, which is something I can deeply relate to. So that is book 1 done based on Goodreads, and I will admit I have 12 holds that have recently come through on Libby, so we are not going to continue this video right now. I will check in with you guys probably after I get back from my vacation next week, because I have 12 loans and I'm going on vacation next week. It's a lot, okay? So we're going to put a fork, get it because it's Spoons, we're going to put a fork in this, and we'll check in when I have the time to peruse Goodreads. And honestly, right now the only book, like I did like for funsies scroll last night in bed, and literally the only book that came up for like a full like minute and a half of scrolling was the V.E. Schwab one, Bury the Bones in the Midnight Soil, which I'm reading for another video. So we will check in when I have the next thing we're doing. Okay guys, we are going to finally pick book 2 for this video. I have not gone on Goodreads today, so I don't know where the luck is going to bring us. Again, we are going to scroll until we find a book that I own and I have not read. It might take a while, but it's what we're going to do. I never heard of The Mists of Avalon or Silverlock. I read Then She Was Gone. I don't know The 5 People You Meet in Heaven, The Zombie Room. I don't have The Kite Runner. I'm reading Bury Your Bones for a different video, so we're gonna skip that. Rom-com looks cute, but I don't have it. Hemlock and Silver, Happenstance, We're All Guilty Here, nope to all of these. Golden Sun, don't have it. Nope to those. I DNF'd the Powerless trilogy after the first book. I hated it. Harry Potter, I've already read. Read Binding 13, I've read Shield of Sparrows. I DNF'd the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. I've read Great Big Beautiful Life. Jeez Louise. Falling Into Place. Do I have that one? Oh, that's an arc. I don't have it, okay? I do want to read it though. I think it's, was I out of focus that whole time? I'm so sorry. I think it's the second book after If Tomorrow Never Comes, but can't read it if it's an arc. Okay, it looks like the winner is Where the Crawdads Sing. Okay, it's right here. I've had this on my TBR for quite some time. I've been hearing about this book for years, and I guess now is the time. I have no idea what this is about. How long can you protect your heart? For years, rumors of the Marsh Girl have haunted Barkley Cove, a quiet town on the North Carolina coast. So in late 1969, when handsome Chase Andrews is found dead, the locals immediately suspect Kaya Clark, the so-called Marsh Girl. But Kaya is not what they say. Sensitive and intelligent, she has survived for years alone in the marsh that she calls her home, finding friends in the gulls and lessons in the sand. Then, the time comes when she yearns to be touched and loved. When two young men from town become intrigued by her wild beauty, Kaya opens herself to a new life until the unthinkable happens. The heartbreaking coming-of-age story and a surprise tale of a possible murder. So, let's get this one done. I can finally say that I've read it, which is also something I'm excited about. Okay guys, I'm gonna cut my finger on a can of corn, but we are 70% through this book, and God, is this book boring. This has such a high rating on Goodreads, but even like the 5 and 4.5 and 4-star ratings all say this book, the whole first half of this book is so boring. The whole first half of this book is so boring, but the ending is worth it. That the ending is so good. So basically in this book, we have our main girl. Her name is Kala, I think she goes by. Kaya. We have our main girl, Kaya, and she and her family kind of live off the grid in this like marsh in North Carolina. And one day her mom and some of her siblings just kind of like leave, or her mom leaves and then some of her siblings leave because the dad is a drunk and abusive. And so it's literally just Kaya left there with her dad. She's like 7 years old. They're not sending her to school. Like, this takes place also in the 60s. Yeah, 1969. Yeah, so this is taking place in the 60s, and there's a lot of like stuff going on about like segregation in school, but the like truant officer comes and takes Kaya to school for one day, and she gets bullied really bad because she lives in the marsh, and they just call her the Marsh Girl, blah, blah, blah. Eventually her dad leaves too, and so she's kind of just left to fend for herself, trying to hunt and gather and provide stuff to sell. And it's literally, we're just following her and her time, making friends with different boys, falling in love, XYZ. Now she's an adult. One of her brothers came back, and she's on trial for murder. But it's just so painfully boring. Oh, it's literally like such a snooze fest. I'm not enjoying this at all, but we will see if it can get better. I think because of how bored I am, it will not be more than a 4, even if the ending is amazing. For it to be this boring for this long, no. And my reading month has just been so many boring books, and I feel like this book feels so long, and it's only like 350 pages, and it feels like this is like an 800-page book. That's how bored I am, but we're gonna finish that. But I do want to just quickly go on to Goodreads and pick our final book so that I can request the audio. That's a phone. Are you guys part of the generation that when you say pretend you're on the phone, you go like this, or are you the this? Because I'm the this for sure. But I'm already recording. Haven't even popped on Goodreads today. The Troop, I've heard that's very body horror-esque, so whatever. Till Summer Do Us Part, I'm reading for a different video. Dang, Emily hated it. But yeah, I'm reading that for book club, so I don't want to read that for that. Nope. I don't have Problematic Summer Romance. I don't have The Girl Prince. I want to read Sounds Like Love, but I do not have it. And again, we're trying to go by books that I own. Have I read Brain Damage? No, I have not. So I guess it's going to be Brain Damage by Freida McFadden. Let me go grab it. Okay, this will be the final book that Goodreads picks for us, and it says, after years of hard work, Dr. Charlie McKenna finally has it all. Prosperous career as a dermatologist? Check. Spacious apartment overlooking Central Park? Check. Handsome lawyer husband? Double check. Then one night, a bullet rips through the right side of her skull and she loses everything. As Charlie struggles to recover from her brain injury, she begins to realize that the events of the fateful night are trapped in the damaged right side of her brain. Now she must put together the jigsaw pieces together to discover the identity of the man who tried to kill her before he finishes the job he started. So, checking another Freida right off my list. The Crawdads have finished singing and I would like for them to never sing again. So for our video recently, I read The Wedding People and I didn't really love it. And I gave it 3 stars because I could like see the potential, like I got it. I just don't like an unlikable character, so it made it less enjoyable for me personally. But this, boring as can be. How it has such a high rating on Goodreads, I wish I could tell you, because this was a snooze fest in my opinion. It's like got the mystery aspect in it, which is supposed to keep you on the edge of your seat, but I found everything about the mystery to be so beyond predictable, and I don't know if that's because like I read a lot of mysteries, I consume a lot of true crime, but I did not care about a single thing that was happening in this book. Like, you couldn't pay me to be interested. It was just so boring. So painfully boring. I did not care like what happened. I did not care. Okay, I gave it a 2. The things that I liked, because there was very few, was I did enjoy hearing Kaya's survival story and how like as like a young child she was basically left to figure everything out on her own, and how she learned to read and she became an author and did all of these things for herself. But I literally hated everything else. It was so boring. And even like the reviews that were really like positive were like, the first half of the book was so boring, but the ending just like had me. And I'm just like, it didn't have me. It left me behind, baby. But I was texting my sister because she has this book and she's told me that she's tried to read it a ton of times because her therapist had told her to read it, and she's like, I can't get through it, it's so boring. So I texted her and I was like, so I'm reading Where the Crawdads Sing and I'm bored to death. And she's like, right. I've tried to read it so many times and it's painful. And I'm going to have to agree, unfortunately, that this was painfully boring. I did not like it. I do not recommend it, and I want nothing to do with it. It will be, in fact, unhauled at the end of the month because I hate it. But it is currently 4:30. I have about 5 orders left to work on today. I'm not really sure how long it's going to take me because one of them is quite big. This is a 9.5-hour audiobook, so it's probably going to take me about 3 hours and 10 minutes to finish it. But we're going to go get started on Brain Damage. And I hope it's good because my reading for this month is not going well. Not going well at all. Okay guys, we're about halfway through this book and it sucks, okay? It's not good so far. So we have our main character, Charlie is how we say her name, and she basically one night was home and she gets shot in the head, and that we're getting some like bits and pieces of her life with her husband before she got shot. She's a dermatologist. He was like a patient of hers. He kind of sucks from the get-go. And we get bad vibes from him, but she ends up marrying him after like 8 months of dating. And now she's shot. There's kind of some speculation that the husband's the one who did it because she had a $2 million life insurance policy and he doesn't visit her in the hospital because she lived. But she like can't see anything on her left side. She like is missing part of her skull. And she doesn't really remember anything that happened leading up to it, but she's having these nightmares where like she remembers somebody being like, do you know why I'm doing this? Because you deserve it, something to that effect. And that's like literally nothing has happened. In the first half of the book, it's literally just her in the hospital trying to rehabilitate. There's a couple of people in the hospital who she's becoming friends with, but this doesn't feel like a mystery. This does not feel like a thriller. This just feels like a fiction book about this woman who was shot in the head. And it's just like nothing of interest has really happened. It's kind of giving there's like an episode of House where like the guy like has like lock-in syndrome or whatever, because in the beginning, like, she's not speaking, not doing anything, not responding, and they like are thinking about pulling the plug on her. Then she starts talking, and she's now trying to learn how to walk again, which is like fine if that's the type of story this is supposed to be, but I thought this was like a mystery. I don't know. I have theories. We will see. It's obviously not the husband, right? Because that would be way too obvious. But I do hate him, simply. But I'm going to continue on. I'm not enjoying it. It's feeling like a 2 or a 3 right now. But that's just where I'm at. It's the way that I stopped this at 91% last night. With 51 minutes left, and I'm listening to it at 3 times speed. Like less than 20 minutes left of listening. And my husband called me because he was on his way home from work, and I was like, well, I guess I'm done for the day. That's how you know it's not gripping me. I do think it's worked its way up to a 3. I've kind of enjoyed the story more in the second half, if I'm being honest with you. I like seeing our main character, Charlie, her relationship with the people at like the rehab facility. I like seeing their relationships grow. It's been sweet, but it's like nothing revolutionary. This is in the I keep saying in videos, there's like an era of the Freida McFadden books. Like, I don't think that her books now have particularly good covers, but there's like an era where they're particularly bad. And those ones have all kind of just been 3 stars for me, and so this is kind of falling into that camp, but we will see. Maybe, I mean, I don't think in 20 minutes from now, at 91%, it's really going to change it much. The only thing that is sometimes Freida's epilogues bring it down a point, because her epilogues are sometimes so dumb. So I'm gonna work in my planner and finish this up. We are done. We have finished. Goodreads has finished picking my TBR, and honestly, I don't know that I ever want to let Goodreads pick my TBR again. I did end up finally landing on a 3 stars for Brain Damage, but to me, this felt, I feel like a lot of Freida's books, to me, typically are the very stereotypical popcorn thriller. There's tons of twists and turns. There's shocking things that happen that may not really make sense, blah blah blah, and the whole like point of the story is the twists and turns. This book felt more like, in my opinion, a literary mystery, in the same realm as like Mad Honey. Not anything like Mad Honey. Mad Honey is 5 stars, but basically we're mainly just following Charlie and her journey of having like suffered this traumatic brain injury and getting shot in the head, and relearning how to talk and walk and go to the bathroom by herself, and dealing with all of these things in her life while trying to piece together what had happened to her and to figure out who was involved. I did like it enough in the end, and like I said, I did give it 3 stars, but Goodreads, we did start with Savor It, I believe, by Tarah DeWitt, I think was the first book we read in this video. Where'd she go? Here it is, yeah. We read Savor It, which I gave 4 stars, Brain Damage, which I gave 3 stars, and Where the Crawdads Sing, which I gave 2 stars. But we got a super hyped up, like, in my opinion, overhyped book off the TBR. We got another Freida off the TBR, and a book that I was really excited about off the TBR. So I guess in that sense, it was successful, but just the overall books weren't my fave, you know what I'm saying? But that's gonna be all for this Goodreads Picks my TBR video. I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you next time. Bye!